Welcome back to another episode of Hot Takes, Hotter Mistakes. I am your host, Matteo El Tapatio. So, has your boss ever tried to kill you? Story time, but first, a word from our sponsor. Is your throat parched? You feel dry as a bone? Do you ever just need a little kick in the cojones? Well, look no further than Grammy's Jammin' Juice. To swallow, make you holler. Available today for a limited time only. Okay, back to our story. So, the time is about 2:30, 3 o'clock in the afternoon in Texas. And I'm going to say it was around August. It's been a couple years, so try to block it out of my memory. And my boss decides that she wants to take a walk because she's a very healthy person. And she tries to get all of us to be healthy, which is great. I don't mind that. It's actually gotten me into walking, over the last couple of years, and I feel much healthier. So I appreciate it. But in this particular situation, it was a little misleading when she said, let's go take a little walk. Okay. So we head out of the office and we start walking down the road. And I'm like, I'm in a black t-shirt, blue jeans, some tinnies. I'm like, I can do this. I'm good. We'll just go around the block. I thought, heck, nothing better than getting out of the office and talking shit about everyone. So that's what I thought we were going to do. So we start heading down the road and we're just chugging along, shooting the shit. And the first block goes by and I'm like, you know what? That's all right. I'm feeling spiffy. Now keep in mind, the night before, I think I probably had 6 or 8 beers. And all I had to eat the entire day was an avocado and maybe a cup of water. So anyway, we keep walking. So we get a block, 2 blocks, 3 blocks away from the office. And I'm like, this is turning into being a little bit more than a short walk. I would say so myself. And so we're like, all right. She's like, can you go further? And me not wanting to be, not being able to say no and also not wanting to seem weak. I'm like, nah, I'm great. I can keep going. I was starting to kind of sweat a little bit. So we come around the corner and there's this little trail. So she starts heading down the trail and I'm like, well, guess I'm going behind you. We go and then we come out from the side. And here's this big park. And I'm like, well, shit. What are we going to do now, boss? She's like, oh, a trail. So we start walking down the trail. The trail goes from, some nice little dirt to, what would you know, some good old crushed granite. I'm like, I feel a little bit of the reflection of heat coming off this granite. So we keep walking. I should have said something. I should have just manned up and been like, you know what? I think I went too far. But I didn't. I kept walking. So we start heading around the trail. We're going. And I'm like, good Lord, I think we're probably close to at least 1.5 miles at this point. We still got to get back to the office. So I was like, oh my God, what should I do? I'm just going to tough it out. I'm just going to keep walking. I've got this, Matteo, I've got it. So we keep walking. All of a sudden, I'm like, you know what? I think I have stopped sweating. Feel a little dry. Skin feels a little chalky. I'm like, I'm going to run in the restroom real quick. I got to go to the restroom. And she's like, all right, I'll just stand here. So luckily there was one of the, park bathrooms there. And I walk in there and I'm like, oh shit, some shade. Because there wasn't one damn tree on this trail. So I'm like, all right, some shade. Thank goodness. Get in there and I'm like, fuck, there's no breeze coming through here. And at this point, I feel like I'm getting hotter. but I'm in the shade, and I'm like, all right, what should I do? Let me turn on the sink, get some water, and of course, because it's the park, the water's not cold, it's like lukewarm. So I start splashing it on my face and in my hair. I look in the mirror and I'm like beet red, and I'm like, oh shit, okay. Let's keep splashing water. But because the water was lukewarm, it wasn't doing shit. So then I start doing the fanning. Oh God, all right. So I'm like, I feel like I'm still getting hotter. What should I do? So at that point, I take my shirt completely off, and I take it and I put it under the water, and just pushed it down in there, wringed it out a little bit, pushed it again, and then put it back on. And so now my shirt's soaking wet, my hair's soaking wet. And so I don't know why in my mind I didn't think that would probably look ridiculous to my boss when I walked out of the bathroom, but I think at that point I was starting to panic a little bit. So I walk out and she's like, oh my God, are you okay? I'm like, yeah, what's up? I'm a little hot. I thought to put some water on my face. Like, you're completely soaked. I'm like, yeah. Oh yeah. The water was coming out pretty fast in there. So anyway, she's like, we should probably head back. I'm like, yeah, we probably should. And so we start working our way back. I feel like I'm doing okay because my hair's wet, my shirt's wet. I'm trying to kind of walk fast to create a little bit of breeze, but I don't want to walk too fast because now I'm heating up again. So we keep going, and we're about halfway back to the office. All right. And my brain, I'm like, I can do this. I can do this. Then again, I start feeling that dryness. And I'm like, oh boy, here we go again. And I know at this point there's no water faucet. There's nothing. And so we're walking, and then I kind of do the old count the pulse, and I don't have a watch, so I can't really get a good reading. But my best guesstimate was it was going about 165. So I was like, boss, I think I might be in a little bit of trouble. She's like, what do you mean? I'm like, seriously, I think I might be having a heat stroke. And she's like, oh my God, are you serious? I was like, yeah. I was like, can we call someone from the office maybe to come pick us up? And what I'm thinking is have someone come pick me up with the ice cold, crisp AC. I'll get in the car. I'll cool off a little bit. I'll be great. I need some cool air just to bring the temp down just a tad. So she's like, yeah, sure. So she gets on her phone, calls one of the girls that work with us, and she's like, hey, can you come pick us up? Matt got way too hot. She's like, yeah, I'll be right there. So I'm basically sitting under a tree at this point, trying to decide, is this going to be my final resting place? And it seems like forever. I mean, we're literally driving a car. We're like 2 minutes from the office. A walk, obviously it's going to take longer, but I'm like, where are you? So finally I see the car coming up, and I'm like, thank God. Now, I've never ridden in this individual's car before, but I was praying for ice cold AC. So she pulls in, I walk over there, and my boss is like, you go ahead and sit in the front next to the air. And I'm like, you got it, girl, I'm going. So I get in the car and I lean forward, and that air was about as cold as that water in the park area. I'm like, oh shit, this isn't working. I feel like the air is hot. I mean, I think it was technically a little cooler than the air outside, but it definitely wasn't AC. And so I'm like, oh shit. So We start heading back to the office. Well, then you got to go through the little square area to get back to our office. And my boss is like, oh, look, there's a smoothie place. You want a smoothie? Like, no, I think I need a paramedic. That's what I'm thinking in my head. Like, no, I'm good. Are you sure? I'm like, yeah. I'm like, I can never be mean. I try to be mean. I can never be mean. I want to just say, fuck, get me back to the office. But I can never do that. My boss is great. She's super nice. So I was like, no, but y'all go ahead and get y'all whatever y'all want. I'm looking around, like, because at this point I'm starting to get confused too. And honestly, I was thinking, is there a beer store close by? You know how the beer stores have those little coolers? I would have killed for one of those. I was just going to go lay in there and try to come back to life. But there wasn't one. There wasn't one anywhere near. And so after what seemed like 10 minutes, which it probably is only 3 minutes, they come back to the car. And then she's like, I got you a little fruit bowl. It'll be good for your electrolytes. At this point, like, I can barely open my mouth. I think I was close to dying. But yeah, luckily we get back to the office and it was cool there. And I sit in the front office and I really couldn't do much because I was so hot and I was like kind of having a panic attack at the same time, because I do think I was pretty close, if not in the grips of a heat stroke. The conference room I'm sitting in is right by the front door, so everyone keeps walking through. Like, are you okay? What's wrong with you? Why are you so red? I mean, I just sat there, like, had a fan in my face probably for an hour, 2 hours maybe. But yeah, I felt pretty sick afterwards. Yeah, I still give her a hard time to this day that she almost killed me. Right. Speaking of walking, the other walk I took was a nice little walk to jail. Now, before you go and try to Google me, this was back in 1995, and they didn't even have the internet to upload mugshots back then. But it wasn't nothing serious, okay? But it was kind of funny. At the time, I was in college, and I decided that me and my roommate were going to go back home. Because at the time, I was going to college in Waco, and I was from a small town. And so, you know, when you go from a small town to a bigger town, you know, you don't know as many people, everything else. So, you know, I'd obviously met my roommates and stuff. And so I told him, man, I know where all the parties are back home. We always party every weekend. You should come down, blah, 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 you know, have a good time. And so finally he agreed. So we jumped in his little convertible that he had, which right then I should have known that was going to be a bad idea, because when you're in a town of like 3,000 people and you're riding around in a convertible that isn't from that town, obviously, you know, that's going to throw up some red flags, some sirens. But anyway, he agreed and came on down. And so we, you know, did the little run through. Anyone from a small town knows you got that little run through your little drag spot where everyone goes, where you try to figure out where the parties are. Well, back then you did, because we didn't have cell phones. We had the pagers, but you could only do 911 and some other stupid shit in there. So you would have to go find the little meeting spot so we could find where the parties were. So we go up, find the spot, and everyone's like, you know, it had been a couple weeks, maybe 2 or 3 weeks since I'd been home. So a lot of my friends were like, hey, good to see you. Oh, yeah. Who's this guy? And I was like, oh, it's my roommate. You know, he's a cool dude. And they're like, oh, nice car, man. Nice car. And so they're like, how old are you, dude? And he's like, oh, I'm 21. And they're like, no way. Can you get us beer? Of course, my roommate's like, hell yeah, I'll get y'all beer. So we sit there at the little gas station, and we take everyone's order and get everyone's money and head over to the beer store. Well, one of my crazy friends decided to jump in the car with us. And I should have known better. Because he's crazy, but he's crazy in a convertible. Everyone can see him. So we head over, beer store. My roommate runs in, grabs everyone's beer. And we get back in the car, have the beer. We start heading to where the party was, right? So we were going to deliver all the beer, be the heroes of the day. So we start going through town. And my buddy, some girl pulls up next to us, and he hollers something out the window at her. And I honestly don't remember what he said. Apparently, according to the authorities, it was offensive. I don't honestly remember, to tell you the truth. So we go along the way. We meet back up at one of the gas stations, and we're like, hey, we're going to meet all y'all out there. We'll be out there in a bit. So my buddy, the crazy one, jumps out of the convertible, jumps in the truck with someone else. And everyone kind of starts heading out. Well, my roommate needed to get gas, so he's filling up. And right about that time, cop car just flies into the gas station right behind us. Jumps out of his car, and then another cop car, and then another cop car. And I'm like, dude, what the hell is going on? And he's like, I need you guys to stop what you're doing and line up in front of these gas pumps. I'm like, what for? And he's like, we had a report of obscenities being yelled at a young lady. And to tell you the truth, I'm sure what my friend said was offensive, but it wasn't like, it couldn't have been that crazy, but I'm sure it was probably offensive. But I mean, you would have thought like, ooh, anyway. So they line us up, and we're sitting there, and I'm just like this, and I'm just like, what? And at the time, I hadn't even remembered my friend hollering anything, so I had no clue what they were talking about. And so we're sitting there, and then they're like, he's walking, and as he's walking, he's stopping in front of each one of us for a second. And he's like, no, okay, no, okay. So he gets right in front of me, and he's like, this one? Okay. This one? Okay. And he goes, turn around. You're going to jail. I'm like, what the hell did I do? And he's like, disorderly conduct. And I'm like, what? So right when he told me that, that's when my roommate was like, wait, are they talking about what your buddy yelled at that girl? And then it all clicked. And I'm like, oh, you son of a bitch. He was my best friend though, so it's all good. So anyway, I'm thinking, okay, now I'm going to go to jail for disorderly conduct. And my buddies are going to be okay. They're going to go head on to the party. I'll just be sitting in there by myself. So about that time, the cop's like, where y'all heading? And the other two guys that were there were like, oh, we're just riding around town. He's like, really? And he just so happened to like put his hand on the back of the convertible, and I guess the way the little thingy, whatever you talk, the top folded in, when he put his hand, it was kind of loose, and he went like this, and he's like, oh, what's that? And I'll be damned if when he pulled up the little corner, he couldn't see like right down into the trunk, and he could see all the beer. And he's like, oh, so we got some beer too. Okay. Now you're going to jail for contributing to a minor. My roommate that was 21. And he's like, oh. And then my poor other buddy, he's like, you're just going for an MIP because he was under 21. Which is stupid to go to jail for a minor in possession of alcohol, but whatever. So anyway, yeah, they cuff us all, put us in the car, and I'm like, oh, God, dude, called the tow truck to impound my roommate's car. Then we're riding in the cop car. We're all pissed off at this point. And we get to the jail, and they get us out of the car, and they start, walking us up to the little intake area. And this lady's like, name. And so I give her my name. And then she's like, oh, are you Marsha's son? And I'm like, that's my mom. And I'm like, yeah, what? She goes, your mother is such a wonderful lady. What a disappointment. like, yo, bitch, you don't even know what I'm here for. I didn't tell her that, but that's what I was thinking in my head. And she's like, ugh. I'm like, yeah, whatever. So they check us in and they take us over to the drunk tank or holding cell. You know, a lot of people call it the drunk tank because that's basically what you have in there at that point, is all the people that are drunk. And we go in there, and I think I'm maybe 19 or 20 at the time. So we go in there, and then it's packed, right? And so we're just kind of trying to find a place to sit. And so I obviously I just sit up against the wall because it's like you're not gonna. You kind of want to be away from everyone. You don't want to be sitting with everyone, whatever. And it was my first time to be in jail, so didn't really have a playbook. But yeah, so we're trying to, you know, just chill and be cool. But my roommate, he was one of those guys that, like, he would get these wild ideas. He would watch movies, he would do whatever. He thought he was a hacker one time because he watched hackers. And, you know, he just watched movies and then would get this persona like that's who he was all of a sudden. Kind of weird now that I think about it. But unfortunately, this dude had, I think the movie was Roadhouse. I don't know. But he had watched some movie, probably Roadhouse. And so we're talking to some of the guys in there. And they're like, so what do y'all do? You know, what do you do? What do you do? And I'm like, I'm just in college, man. You know, I'm just graduated. I'm from here, you know. And, but yeah, we were just in town, wanted to party, got arrested. You know how that shit goes. It's like, yeah. And then he's like, what do you do? And this idiot kind of like puts his shoulders back and he's like, I'm a bouncer. Keep in mind, he's about 6 foot tall, probably 140, maybe. And these dudes lose their shit. There was probably 20 guys in there and they start fucking laughing so hard. And he's getting offended. He's like, seriously. And I'm like, and I'm looking at him and I'm like, dude, shut the fuck. Like, you're really going to tell a bunch of dudes in jail that you're a bouncer. But yeah, he, luckily, I think they realized how small this dude was and there was no reason to take it any further because they could have started talking more shit. And he was the dumb type that would have just kept going along until somebody, you know, put him in his place, which is what would happen. But yeah, it was wild. And then there was this one drunk old dude that had fallen asleep on the floor in front of us. So honestly, like, it, even that it was my first time in there, I could look at this particular situation and realize where this dude was laying was probably the worst possible place that you could lay in a drunk tank. Okay? Because there was like this particular drunk tank, there's like urinals on the wall, and then there's like this great area on the ground. And you could tell, well, from what I could gather, is that because some people were in there that were drunk, that if the urinal on the wall was full, dudes had been just pissing in this grate in this hole, which is right next to this old dude's head. And I'm like, bro, like, and I mean, you could smell the piss, so it's obviously like not the best place in the world to lay. But he was laying there, but he had this little snore. I'll never forget it. It was like, and he did that shit the entire night. And so it did give us a good laugh because, you know, as he fell deeper and deeper and like to his little drunken sleep, it would get a little bit slower. And so we would all wait for it. It was like, and we would wait, and then it was like, and we would all laugh. It was pretty funny. And there was also a guy that they were bringing in, and this is funny too because this statement and what they had said made absolutely no sense to me. But so the holding cell was here, and then you could hear the intake is like right next to the wall. So as they're bringing people in, you can hear them like walking through. You can almost hear what they're saying, especially if they're loud. And then you'd wait, 15, 20 minutes, and then the door would open and they would come in there and be in there with you. But this particular one, I don't know what the deal was. I never asked the guy. I should have asked him. We were all laughing because we did know it was him when he came in. But I think, if I recall correctly, he might have had some paraphernalia or some of the devil's lettuce on him and didn't want him to find it. So he was kind of wrestling with them. And then I think he kind of tucked it in, because back then they didn't strip search you or do any of that stuff when they threw you in the holding tank. They patted you down, and that was it. And so I think he was just trying to create a diversion so he could get it down his pants. But you hear him you hear him kind of tussling, and then you hear this one officer, and he's like, "You like that peanut butter, boy? You like that peanut butter, boy?" And still to this day, I don't know what a peanut butter boy is. I don't know what that means. But he called this dude peanut butter boy for a good 5 minutes as they were wrestling around. And so, yeah, I'm gonna have to Google that. I wonder if there's anything on the internet about what a peanut butter boy is. But yeah, so boss almost killed me, and then I went to jail, but not in the same period. But that's all I have for tonight, and I hope you enjoyed it. Like and subscribe if you want. I'm gonna be putting some more crazy stories out, some more rants. So have a good night.